are going to start history of 6th class. So we will be understanding the first chapter, that what, where, how and when. First of all, I would like to inform that the history which I will be completing and the other subjects of NCERT which I will be completing, it is very essential to understand that what all parts you need to learn or understand from this book, because all the parts are not important, because these books have been written in such a manner that uh, it is just to build the story so that the kids could understand, right? But since the students who are preparing for the competition exam, for them time is a crucial or important thing. So multiple revision is also an important thing. So we will need to understand that how to revise, and to revise things it is important to read the specific content. So I'll be focusing on those things which are really important and you need to pay attention. Okay, so you just need to follow this course and understand and note down all the important things which we are discussing. Okay, so with this caveat, let's get started. First we will understand where did the people live. Okay, so as per the NCERT is referring river Narmada. Okay, so some of the earliest people who lived here were near river Narmada. They were skilled gatherers. Okay, that is people who gathered their food. So it is very clear that who are the gatherers, the people who gathered their food, they were called as the gatherer. They knew about the vast wealth of plant in surrounding forest and collected roots, fruits and other forest produce for their food. They also hunted animals, because it is essential and important for the people to survive in that environment, to understand the plants which are good to consume as a food. Okay, and which are not to touched, because some fruit like some plants can be poisonous, so it is important to avoid that as well. So they understood and developed this thing, that which all plants are important and which animal they can hunt easily. Okay, so let's move ahead. And now it is asking us to look at the Sulaiman and Kirthar hills. So first of all, we will look at the Narmada river. Where is Narmada river? So look at the map carefully, and you can see that the Narmada river, which is here, you can look at the Narmada below the Vindhyas. Here is Narmada. Okay, so there were hunters and gatherers. And second, it is asking us to refer Suleiman and Kirthar hills. So if you look at the northwest part, okay, in the Pakistan region, here is Kirthar and here is Suleiman. So these are the two regions which it is referring. So it is important to understand the map as well, where what hills, what rivers, all are located. So thorough understanding of these of maps is also important for competitive exams. Okay, so let us move ahead. And what is it saying? The areas Suleiman and Kedar Hills, areas where women and men first began to grow crops such as wheat and barley about 8,000 years, are located here. So it is important that why Suleiman and Kirthar hills are important, because initial, like very first time, the women and men started growing crops. Which crops? Wheat and barley, 8,000 years ago. So it is important fact we need to understand. And second, people also began rearing animals, like which all animals they started rearing? Sheep, goat, cattle, and they also lived in villages. Of course, they need to start settling, as they understood that how to survive and how to hunt, how to gather different plants. All these things became important. Then it is asking us for the Garo hills to the northeast. So it is uh, making us very clear that where the Garo hills are located in the northeast part. So we will look those regions as well. Okay, and the Vindhya in the central. So let us look at the Garo hills and the Vindhya hills. So if you'll pay attention, then Garo Hills in the northeast. Here is the Garo Hills. Here, let me point it out. Here the Garo Hills and the Vindhyas in the center. Here is the Vindhyas. Okay. So Vindhya and Garo Hills. It is important. So Garo, Khasi and Jaintia are the hill ranges in the Meghalaya region. So we will understand it once we will move ahead. Okay. So Garo Hills to the northeast and the Vindhyas in the central. These were the some of the other areas where what happened that the agriculture developed. Okay. So earlier we read that in Kirthar and Suleiman Hills, people started growing wheat and barley. Here, agriculture developed. So keep this in your mind that what is happening, where is it happening. So these places become important fact. Okay? The places where rice was first grown are the north of the Vindhya. So we just looked at the Vindhya Hills. So rice was first grown in this part, north of the Vindhya. It is important. The rise of Indus River and its tributaries. Okay, it is also telling that what are the tributaries. Tributaries are nothing but just the smaller river that flow into the larger river. So if we look, let us look at the Indus River and its tributaries. So it is important to understand in the beginning the which all river are the tributaries of the Indus and where is Indus is flowing. So let me just mark it for you. So here is, if you look at the northwest part, okay, then here is the Indus. So here Indus is flowing like this, okay? And the tributaries are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. These are the tributaries which are falling into Indus. So it is a very big and important river for not only India, for the Pakistan region as well. Okay? So let us move ahead once we have looked at it. So why? About 4700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the bank of these rivers. So the river Indus and its tributaries. So what, if you will pay attention, then what it is referring? It is referring to the Harappa Valley civilization. Okay. So also keep this in mind that what time period is it referring, and in that period which all civilizations flourished in all the areas which NCERT is trying to refer. So it becomes a base for you to comprehensively understand the entire thing. Okay. Later, what happened into 2500 years ago? It clearly states that the cities developed on the bank of Gangas and its tributaries. So we will look at the Ganga river and its tributaries as well. Okay, along the sea coast. Ganga and its tributary. The Son is one of the tributaries, which important tributary of the Ganga. So what is it that to the south of Son of the Ganga was known as, there was a kingdom known as Magad. Okay, so Magad is today in the state of Bihar. So basically, Bihar was in that era or in that period, it was known as Magad. So it was a powerful and large kingdom. Okay, so this is really important that 4700 years ago on the Indus River, there were earlier cities flourished, and 2500 years ago on the banks of Ganga and on its tributaries Son, and the south of the Son, Magad was a big kingdom. Okay, so that flourished. So let us look at the Ganga and its tributaries. So let me just show you that Ganga and its tributaries. So it is important. So look at this. Here is Ganga, it is flowing, and Son, which NCERT is referring, the Son river, and south of it, somewhere here was the Magadhan Empire. Okay, so it was flourished on the bank of Son. So let us move ahead. As we are understanding that the cities flourished, and if cities flourished on the basis of the people movement, because people were coming, people were moving out, trades was happening, other things were taking place. Okay, so movement of people, what it does, that it enrich our culture tradition, because people come, they amalgamate and they share their culture, they take some of the things which are there existing. Okay, so people have shared new ways of carving stone, composing music, and even cooking food, and our several uh, other things which happened earlier in the hundreds of years ago. So it is just trying to give you a base that how civilization developed on the bank and how people started uh, contributing in composing different music and providing food, how culture established. So these are the things which happen. And next comes the name of the land and how the name was given or the continent. Okay, so let us understand that as well. Two of the words we often use to our country are the India and the Bharat, which is also written in the Indian Constitution. Once you will understand the polity part, you will read the polity, so you will understand India, that is Bharat, has been referred. So here also it is referring the same. Okay, the word India comes from the Indus, called Sindhu in Sanskrit. Sanskrit was known as Sindhu. The Iranian and the Greeks who came through northwest about 2500 years ago were the similar with the Indus and call it to Hindus or Indos. So they call Iranians, they call it as the Indos or the Hindus, and the land to the east of the river called India. So Iranian who traveled to past to Indus River, and the people who were living to the east of Indus River, they called it as the land of Indus, or they called it as this part were called as the India. Okay, the name Bharat was used for a group of people who lived in northwest. So the people who were living, because they first came there, they interacted with the people who were living in the northwestern part. Because if you look at the map, so as per the map, where Indus is flowing in the northwestern part, which we have already seen. And what it is referring, that the all the Iranian like the travelers who travel from Iran to this part of India, so they traveled to the Indus and they interacted. So of course they must have met few people who were living here on the banks of the Indus River. So they call they this part of the northwestern part was called as Bharat. Okay, so I hope you have understood it correctly, that what is Indus, what is India, and how the name Bharat was given. Okay, Bharat was used a group of people who lived in the northwest and who are mentioned in Rig Veda. It is important that the Bharat is also mentioned in the Rig Veda, the earliest composition in Sanskrit, which is about 3500 years ago. Okay, so there are few important things, that what is now in this portion, what is telling us, it is providing information about the what are the manuscript, what are their importance. So first we will understand in the yellow portion, which I have marked a page from the palm leaf. Okay, this manuscript was written about 1000 years ago, so it is referring about some manuscript which was written on palm leaf. Okay, and that was cut into pieces and they were tied together to make the books. Because earlier in those periods, somewhere around 1407 or 2500 years ago, there was no paper. Okay, so still they were understanding how to write, how to communicate, how to pass their message. So they started using manuscript in later period. So manuscript, what are the manuscript? Let us understand it. Manuscript written by hand. This comes from the Latin word manu, meaning hand. Something which has been written using hand or written by hand. These were usually written on palm leaf or on the specially prepared bark of a tree known as bilk, which grown in Himalayas. So if you will see that which written on palm leaf or on a bark of a tree known as bilk. Okay, so a bilk were found in Himalayas. So it is important that what is being found where and what all plants or leaves were used as the paper. So it is important to understand that as well, to understand that era, that how all these things were developing and how it connects the dots. So manuscripts were the books which dealt all kind of subjects such as religious belief and practices. The people were understanding things and they started like doing all these things, and religious belief and practices, whatever they were feeling, they were started mentioning on that thing, on the manuscript, the lives of the king, medicine, science. Besides it, there were epics, poems, plays. Many of these were written in Sanskrit, other one in Prakrit and Tamil language. So different languages according to the reason and according to the knowledge of the people, they started using the different languages such as Sanskrit, Tamil or Prakritic language. And there is one important thing, an old inscription also have been found, which was somewhere around 2250 years ago, found in Kandahar, present day Afghanistan. It was inscribed on the order of the ruler named Asoka. So Asoka have also issued some like inscription. So it is, but that inscription was not on palm leaf. It is important to understand. So Ashoka has used different devices using like pillars and rock addicts. So these were the different things we will understand as we will move ahead into the later classes. So we will understand about the Ashoka and his dhamma, so in detail, and there we will understand that what all the devices Ashoka used to convey his message using all these methods. Okay, so these are the important thing what I have done. If you look closely, then I have clearly marked out the important thing which is not important for the competition, has not been part of this, because what it is doing, that it is just providing you the basic understanding. Okay, so these book have been written for the kids which are in 6th class or 7th class, just to make them understand and make this thing interesting, and we are understanding it just to, so we can utilize it as the base when we go on the advanced book to, and it will help to understand those books in comprehensively, and will provide the base. Okay, so we would be able to connect with that easily. I hope you are understanding. So there's nothing important, because these are some pots and seals which have been found in Harappa. So they have mentioned here, or as of now it is not important, because we will understand it in detail as we'll move ahead into the 6th, 7th or 7th, 8th, or in the next NCERTs of the history. Then we will understand in detail about all these, what are the these scripts are, and which scripts have been used, and what all potteries have been found, what type of potteries have been found. Okay, what are the different places where these have been found, Harappa, Mohenjo-daros and all. So we will understand in later phases. Okay, so what do dates mean? It is important when we are reading about history, so dates plays an important role. So it is important to understand the dates here as well. So these years are counted from the date generally assigned to the birth of Jesus. Okay, the founder of the Christianity. So 2000 years, like if we are referring 2022, 2023 or 2024, it means after 2000, if we are referring 2024, then the 2024 years after the birth of Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ's birth has been taken as the starting point or as a zero, and after that it has been assigned the year 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So 2024 means after the birth of Jesus Christ, 2024 years ahead. Okay, all dates before the birth of Jesus Christ counted backward, and we use at BC. So in details, let me just show you here that BC have been stand for before Christ. Whenever you look at the dates and somewhere it has been mentioned as 6 BC, it means 6 centuries before Christ. Okay, and if you look at the somewhere it has been mentioned as AD, then it means Anno Domini, or after the birth of the Jesus Christ. Okay, so if we would want to mention a date like 2022, so I can write it as AD 2022 A. Okay, so this is how I'm going to mention. When ahead, then AD, if before, then BC means before Christ or Anno Domini. And sometimes what happens, it clearly mentioned that sometimes CE also has been used. Okay, instead of AD, common era. Okay, So BC instead of BC, the letter CE stand for the common era and the BC for the before common era. So these are the important terms that you need to keep in mind, that what BC refers, what AD refers, when BCE has been referred. So it is similar to BC. There's nothing to be confused about. Okay. And sometimes they have used the BP as well before present, but rarely we will see BP, because mostly in history books, you the dates which have been used either BC or AD. So these are the some elsewhere. What is it is referring, that it is referring the what other things were happening parallel to the all the other civilizations which were developing here. So as of now, it is not important. Okay. So there was a place, Rajasthan is a town in north coast of Egypt. So just look at the map and find the Egypt, and on the north coast of the Egypt, there's an inscribed stone was found, and which contained the inscription in three different languages. So sometimes, as a fact, not in UPSC, but the UPPCS or other PCS exam, it could be found that Rosetta, uh, their inscription have been found. So what all scripts have been used to, then it is important to understand that what all scripts have been used. Like three scripts have been used: Greek and other two forms of local dialects of the Egyptian Egyptian part. Okay, so total three scripts have been used. So this is the only point which is important. So this is it. So we have completed our first chapter. We will cover the second chapter. Understand this chapter. If you have NCERT history, if you do not have, you can download it, and you can just mark all these places, all these things which as I have marked, or you can simply pause the video, note down important thing, and you can revise it. Okay, we will cover the second chapter. Till then, just keep on revising, and if you have any confusion, if you have any question, you can just post. Okay. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.